If you think you're having a bad week, spare a thought for Danica Mason from The Today Show. The Channel 9 sports reporter had to apologise to viewers this morning after appearing drunk the morning before in scenes that went viral and generated headlines around the country and the globe. This is the moment that caused all the fuss on Wednesday morning.
Look, we're going to go back to Danica, who reminds us all of those iguanas in Florida that get frozen and drop out of the trees. Morning, Danica.
Carl, I don't know how to respond to that one, but literally the price of coffee over here is actually fine. It's more the price of coffee in the US that we are going to have to get used to. I'm not sure about the iguanas. Where are we going with that one? But anyway, let's get into today's sport because there is plenty happening back home. We're going to start off with some actual Brisbane Broncos gearing from the actually their trip to the UK rather, because Reece Walsh has stolen the show. He, of course, did that in the last year's Ashes series, crowning for 4 tries and claiming England's fans, but returned to the UK just 3 months following that UK club challenge. The Broncos fullback is expected for further torment for the crowd. The 41-year-old revealing that while she has the massive journey ahead for her, she's grateful for all the support going her way. It's absolutely incredible to see, honestly, to see the amount of support that she has is incredible, and the journey ahead, it is remarkable, but also true. The fact that we've got so many athletes who are willing to compete as well after her as well. She is just one of those athletes that you keep in their mind and you just look at them and go, what an inspiration.
No, I agree.
Yeah, she has a long road ahead of her.
I agree with you completely, Danica. Look, you know, the cold weather is a thing, right?
Can freeze
I remember
your
being in
face.
Washington, D.C. a few years ago. And, Ali, you would have been familiar with this. Like, you get out of a car over there and there's such a cold wind, you can't actually move your lips.
Yeah,
it's like,
it freezes.
I would struggle to say the word president.
I can't speak.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, Carl obviously knew what was going on and he tried to cover for her, but it didn't work. Everyone realised what was going on, and this morning she issued this apology.
And guys, just before we do go, I just want to take a moment, if that's okay, just to apologise. I also wanted to say thank you for everyone who has reached out. I'm okay, probably just a little bit embarrassed. Look, I totally misjudged a situation. I shouldn't have had a drink, and especially in these conditions, it's cold, we've got altitude, and not having had dinner probably didn't help as well. But I want to take full responsibility. It's not the standard that I set for myself. So in saying that, I am genuinely really sorry. And I'm thanking everyone for those messages that I have received as well. But we have an amazing few days left here at the Winter Olympics as well. So hopefully I can turn our attention back to that. And I'll be back in about half an hour's time for more sport right here.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
We know how hard you work, Danica.
You're the best,
And we love
Danica.
you.
Don't worry about it. Let's move on. You're a legend. Thanks, Danica. Talk soon.
Good on her. She's taken responsibility and she's apologised. But yet people are still calling for her sacking. They're calling for the sacking of the producers in the control room. Everybody wants to cancel somebody. She made a mistake. And, you know, they were trying to peddle out at first. The PR people were trying to peddle out that it was cold. They were taking Carl's lines and peddling out she was cold. She was just slurring. She was obviously drunk in that previous cross, or tipsy at least. But the morning after, she stood up and she's copped it on the chin. This makes me admire her so much more. And Carl knows what it's like. He obviously had the morning after Logies, and I think that ultimately won him a gold Logie. But as I said, there had been criticism that she wasn't taken off air before this happened. So what I want to do is I want to go back and see how this all played out. This was Danica's first cross at 5:43 a.m. on Wednesday morning. This is the morning where she ended up by 8:10. We saw those scenes where she was obviously tipsy. So this is 5:43 that morning, Wednesday morning, Sydney time.
Boy, oh boy, how's the weather?
Oh, the weather has been very interesting today. It has absolutely caused mayhem throughout the Winter Olympics and Lavinia here. So earlier today, the aerials were scheduled to go ahead. We had our commentators sitting, waiting, ready in the commentary box, and that was cancelled. And then later on, the slopestyle, that was also cancelled.
You know what? I look at it in hindsight and I'm like, is there a slur there? But if you're in the control room at the time, you wouldn't have thought anything of it. And according to my calculations, so that was 7:43 p.m. in Italy at the Winter Olympics. That cross went for 5 minutes. There was nothing wrong with it. Yeah, she's a bit slow. I feel like there's a bit of a slur there, but certainly no red flags at this stage. So let's move to her next cross at 6:15 Sydney time. It's 8:15 p.m. in Italy.
Let's go outside now to Danica at the Winter Olympics.
Oh, I mean, some would call these beautiful conditions to be broadcasting in. Maybe not so beautiful, but look, it has been a really interesting day here in Lavinia because we had so many events actually postponed due to the weather. It wasn't just the snow that was falling because we've had about 10 centimetres overnight. There's been so much snow around town, but it was also the visibility and the wind, which was also causing mayhem.
Nothing. No one's going to be sitting there. No viewer at home is going to be thinking anything's wrong. Her next cross was at 6:35 a.m. Sydney time. That's 8:35 p.m. in Italy.
Guys, honestly, this is so tempting. I've been eyeing off a snow angel all day.
Yes.
Look at this.
Do it.
So this is the amount of snow that fell overnight. Have a look.
Yes.
You know what? I know. I'm gonna get into snow angel. There's a circle in the middle there. Stick around because at the end of sport, that will be me.
There is a slight slur there, but I've got to tell you, in the control room, when you're line producing and putting the show to air, a sports segment is a set and forget, right? So there are certain things throughout the show that can just run along. She's going to do her thing. You might go, what, is she still going on rapping? You might give a call like that, but you're looking at your rundown, you're looking at what's ahead. You may even be talking to some guests coming up in the next segment. So if they're going to go to their hot topics with some politicians or whatever, you might be doing that. So when you've got certain things like news updates and sports reports, you're keeping half an eye on it, but you're not sitting there intently watching exactly what's going on. So now let's move. This is the primetime hit of 7:10. Where breakfast shows have their biggest viewership.
Looking at Riley's face.
I know,
and just
he's
how
so
much
sweet.
it meant to him, that big smile.
I tell you what, he's got a job ahead of him, given the conditions over there, Danica. It's like a snow globe.
Oh, honestly, I mean, Australians right now will be looking at this going, oh my goodness, this is crazy snow. The Italians, they say this is an inconvenience. They do not even classify this as even impact snow. They say, we had a driver this morning who said, I said to him, obviously there's massive snow on the horizon. He said, no, more of an impact to our lifestyle. And I said, you know what? That's actually a good way to look at it. So a lot of the athletes are really just getting ready for the next few days ahead. Obviously, we do have the area action tonight, which is... Always.
Last night, Danica.
Honestly, why? Why do I even start? I know I need to stop before I even start my stories.
I can see that in your neck. I've started now. I've got to keep going.
I sometimes think maybe people will be interested. No,
we are. We love it.
They are literally the worst stories in the world.
People love
but
their bad
it was
stories.
a wild day. Yeah, bad stories. That's what we refer to them. This is like a lay day for the surfers because no one knew really what to do today. But anyway, we'll get onto that in just a moment. But let's get into the day's sport because there is plenty happening around the world as well as here in Milano Cortina 2026 as well.
All right. There's a bit of a red flag here. Carl is obviously picking up on something. It was a laugh out loud moment. And I know that in the control room, their worst thing right now would have been, it's going on a bit. Why is it still going? Because, again, 7:10, you're dealing with all the guests. 7:10 to 7:30, there's a lot of guests coming up. So I wouldn't say red flag. I'd say an orange flag at this point, but certainly not enough to pull her off air. Her next cross was after the 7:30 news at around 7:37 a.m. So that's 9:37 p.m. in Italy.
Get you going. It's what Danica needs right now over there in Italia.
Get you going, Danica.
I would love a little bit of fire up right now. It is very chilly, about minus 10 degrees right now, but we are not complaining because we have actually had a bit of action here tonight. So obviously earlier in the day there was mayhem here in Livigno because so many events were actually cancelled due to the wild weather situation. So we got to about minus 10 degrees and it was just also the wind was coming through. So that was the reason why we had to postpone so many events here. But it was good news because
there's still not enough to pull her off air here. Carl earlier said it's the cold. And if you're in the control room and said, is she okay? I can tell you right now, someone in the control room would have said, yeah, Carl reckons she's cold and that's why her voice is doing that. And you would have gone, oh, okay. But let's just sit through to the end of that cross just after her sport report.
He is set to make his Gold Coast debut in Thursday's match simulation up against St Kilda. So we are waiting, fingers crossed as well, for our season opener in Las Vegas. Very different conditions to what we're experiencing here in Livigno. Minus 10 at the moment. And look, you can start to see the amount of snow that has...
okay, Danica, thanks so much. Let's get it.
If this is Danica in Livigno, imagine Danica in Vegas. I'm looking forward to it.
No, she's got hypothermia, the poor girl. She
I'm
can't even
taking
move her
Tim's
lips.
job. I know. I need to stop.
You're doing great, Danica. We're loving it. Time now for the weather.
Okay, it's getting pretty obvious. She's had a drink, maybe two. But is it enough to pull her off air yet? And I'd argue in that environment at that time, I'd say no. You know, again, it's not like calls were coming through to the control room saying, get her off air. You know, she's doing her job. She's maybe a little bit tipsy, but she's still doing the job. And that was her making fun of her telling bad stories that she did at 7:10. But that brings us back to where we started with a video that's gone viral around the world. Now that we've seen all the other crosses, I want to go back and see this final cross again so we can see how things escalate.
Look, we're going to go back to Danica, who reminds us all of those iguanas in Florida that get frozen and drop out of the trees. Morning, Danica.
Carl, I don't know how to respond to that one, but literally the price of coffee over here is actually fine. It's more the price of coffee in the US that we are going to have to get used to. I'm not sure about the iguanas. Where are we going with that one? But anyway, let's get into today's sport because there is plenty happening back home.
And that is where it's game over. And you'll notice she didn't do the 8:30 cross that she would usually do. Check the tape. It's no doubt to me that she was pulled off air and with good reason. But should she be sacked? Absolutely not. Should anyone in the control room be sacked? Absolutely not. You've got to remember you're in a live environment, lots of things happening. And yes, you are responsible for what goes to air, but it wasn't offensive. She didn't swear. Nine and Danica have taken responsibility. They've apologised. But at the end of the day, a lot of worse things have gone to air in breakfast television. This was harmless. It's embarrassing for her. It'll be something that's always there for her. When the cheap seats comes back, it'll take the piss out of it. But you know what? People know her name now. They say all publicity is good publicity. Maybe they're right. Have you checked out the latest range of McKnight Tonight merch? You could look sexy in a t-shirt or even one of these caps. Or you can have a Rob's Rant with me every day by getting your own mug. But maybe you're the kind of person who prefers a back-end quickie. Well, you can get them all and more at McKnighttonight.myshopify.com. That's McKnighttonight.myshopify.com. Get some merch, help us out, and you'll look good doing it.